I used to believe marriage was about endurance, that love meant holding on through the rough stretches, even when things didn't quite feel right anymore. My name's Ryan, 38 years old. I work as an electrician, and for the past 9 years, I've been a husband. Up until recently, I thought I understood my wife, Melissa. We met in our 20s, built a house, built a life. But somewhere along the line, something in us quietly fractured. It started small, excuses that seemed harmless. Headache. Long day. Not in the mood. The kind of things you ignore because, well, everyone gets tired sometimes. But little by little, it turned into a pattern. Weeks slipped into months. Intimacy didn't just fade. It was replaced by this cold, heavy silence that hung between us like fog. She'd turn away at night, and I'd just lie there, staring at the ceiling, wondering where I'd gone wrong. I tried to be patient. I cooked more, handled errands, told myself she was just stressed, that maybe work was draining her. But the more I gave, the less she seemed to care. The woman who used to laugh at my dumb jokes now barely looked up from her phone. It wasn't just the missing touch. It was the missing warmth. The closeness. Our marriage had turned into a schedule, a polite exchange of chores and half-hearted words. Her door would close early, every night. I kept telling myself, this will pass. That's what love does, it waits. But one Friday night, sitting alone in the dark after another quiet rejection, I realized something harsh. I wasn't her partner anymore. I was her convenience, the guy who paid the bills, fixed what broke, made her life easier. She didn't see a husband, just a provider she could guilt into silence. So the next morning, I made a choice, no arguments, no drama. I just stopped trying. When the laundry piled up, I left it. When she asked for help, I said I was busy. I cooked for myself. No anger, no bitterness, just absence. At first, she didn't even notice. Maybe she thought I was sulking, waiting for her to make a move. But weeks went by, and the balance started to shift. The dishes stayed clean but untouched. The yard overgrew. The car gathered dust. Then one evening, she walked in holding a basket. "Ryan, did you forget to start the dryer?" "No," I said, eyes on my book. "Didn't think I did." She hesitated, confused by how calm I sounded, then muttered something and walked off. It went on like that for a while, her slowly realizing the gears weren't turning on their own anymore. The comfort she'd gotten used to was fading. And then came the night that changed everything. She stepped into the bedroom and said, "Ryan, can we talk?" That one line, after months of silence, felt like a spark in the dark. "Sure," I said. She sat on the edge of the bed, voice softer than it had been in ages. "I feel like you've been distant lately." I almost laughed. "Distant? Melissa, I've been right here. You're the one who left." She frowned, caught between confusion and guilt. "I've just had a lot on my mind," she said quietly. "Work's been stressful, and the headaches." I cut her off. Her eyes flickered, then dropped to the floor. For once, she didn't have a quick excuse. I leaned back, exhaling. "You always had a headache or no energy or no interest. But when I stopped doing things for you, those headaches suddenly vanished." Her head snapped up, shock, guilt, both flashing across her face. "That's not fair." "Neither is being married to someone who treats affection like a job," I said. The words hung in the air, heavy and real. That night, she didn't complain of any headache. But by then, something in me had already changed. The days that followed felt strange. Melissa acted as if nothing had happened, but I could see the shift, the unease behind her smiles, the nervous energy in her voice. She started making dinner again, asking about my day, sitting next to me on the couch. For years I'd been begging for scraps of affection, and suddenly, she was offering them. But I didn't know if it was genuine or just guilt. Something inside me had gone quiet. Not angry, just done. One night, she slipped into bed early and rested her hand on my arm. It was the first unhesitant touch in months. "I've missed you," she whispered. For a second, I wanted to believe her. But then came the flood of memories, cold shoulders, dismissive tones, lonely nights. I didn't pull away, but I didn't respond either. She turned toward me, searching my face. Ryan, what happened to us? I stared at the ceiling. We stopped being us, Melissa. I tried to keep it alive, but you only cared when I stopped trying. She sighed, brushing her hair back. I didn't realize how far apart we'd gotten. I looked at her, really looked. The woman I'd loved wasn't cruel. She'd just forgotten how to give. And maybe I was to blame too, for mistaking endurance for love. The next morning she made breakfast pancakes, even the way I liked them. She kept glancing at me like she was waiting for approval. "They're good," I said softly. She smiled, relieved, but it felt off, like she was trying to buy forgiveness instead of understanding it. Over the next few weeks, things looked better on the surface. We went out. She laughed again. The air felt lighter. But inside, I felt like a visitor in my own life. The foundation was cracked, and every sweet word felt like wallpaper overwrought. One evening, sitting in the backyard, she said, "I think we're getting back to normal." Normal. I repeated. "You mean me doing everything while you pretend I'm the problem?" Her face fell. "That's not what I meant." "I know," I said quietly, setting down my drink. "But that's how it feels. You only noticed me when I stopped being useful." She didn't answer, just blinked back tears. After a long silence, I said, "You know what's strange? The moment I stopped trying to fix us, I started fixing myself. I started feeling lighter." Her voice trembled. "Are you saying you don't want to be here anymore?" I took a deep breath. "I'm saying I don't know what's left here for me." The truth landed between us, quiet and final. I wasn't angry, just done waiting for something that wasn't coming back. That night, while she slept, I sat on the porch with my coffee, thinking about all the years I'd spent hoping she'd love me the way I loved her. Then it hit me. I hadn't lost her. She'd been gone long before I stopped helping. I just finally noticed. The next morning, I packed a small bag. Not out of spite, out of peace. When she saw me by the door, her voice cracked. "Ryan, what are you doing?" "I'm taking a break," I said softly. "I need to remember who I am when I'm not trying to earn love that should have been given freely." Her lips trembled. "Please don't go." "I'm not leaving forever," I said. "I'm just done being the only one fighting for this." For once, she didn't argue. She just nodded, tears tracing down her face. Maybe she finally understood. As I drove away, I didn't feel relief or victory, just clarity. The silence wasn't heavy anymore. It was peaceful. Marriage shouldn't be about keeping score. But it also shouldn't mean one person gives while the other hides behind excuses. I used to think walking away meant failure. Now I know it can mean freedom because sometimes the moment you stop fixing someone else's comfort is the first time you start healing your own.